Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we get into the October tarot card readings, I wanted to make a super small announcement. I'm doing a test launch on a new little website that I'm putting together where there's only just going to be a couple of products on there for right now. Just a place for me to share some of my favorite things. So for right now, I'm introducing my ritual boxes, or as I'm calling them, my spell boxes. These are going to be dedicated to manifesting or healing love, like romantic love energy, or for attracting good fortune into your life. Each box is going to include a beautiful white marble smudge bowl with spell matches, a hand-mixed herbal smudge, sea salt and herbal bath, crystals, a candle, handcrafted anointing oil that I poured during the waxing moon, as well as a detailed instruction booklet, which I'm currently writing, which is why I'm not going to be shipping out until late next month. This will also come with a 3-card tarot reading that I'll be writing out and including in your box as well. These are available for pre-order only, and as this is just a soft launch, things won't be shipping out until the end of October, early November, and only within the United States until I figure out how shipping works, because I have no idea. So the link will be down in the description box down below, so you can go ahead and check it out. For now, let's move into the reading. Thank you. Hi Virgo, welcome to October. Let's go ahead and jump right in to this tarot card reading. Let's see what the energy has to say. Okay, this is a court card. Okay, this is going to represent the energy of Virgo specifically. So if you're a Virgo, this is you. If you're dealing with a Virgo, this is them. Okay, so King of Swords. I just think we've kind of been through a little bit of the ringer, life kind of threw us a little bit here, a little bit there. Virgo season was kind of a time of just a lot of things up in the air and a lot of questions being posed. And the King of Swords is, okay, I need to really think this through. I need to be practical about it, but also creative, also inventive, right? I need to be out of the box, but also thinking realistically. I need to be inventive, but also utilize my resources that I currently have. So I do think Virgo is getting very creative with their communication style, creative with how they, stand up for themselves, creative in how they set boundaries, all these kinds of things. All the Scorpio stuff, I know we're really still in Libra season, I get it, but Libra season has been what I call, it's like the valley, okay, between the eclipses, right? Cancer season and Capricorn eclipses, cardinal energies, Aries and Libra are in between those two cardinal signs. So at the height of eclipse season, then it comes down into a valley in Libra. So, or did I say it right? Cancer season, then down to Libra. So yes, there may have been a lot going on, and yes, there may have been a lot of fallout from Virgo season. There might be a lot of changes, and maybe there's some relationship stuff going on, but it's foundational. And Scorpio season is going to afford us that opportunity to really clean up everything once and for all. And it's 3rd house activity for you, Scorpio, right? So we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in a Mercury ruled 3rd house. And communication is going to be your thing. Mercury kind of stuff is going to be your thing, your focus the next couple of months. Mercury is going to be in Scorpio for a long time. So there's going to be ample opportunity for us to just get it off our chest, okay? King of Swords is not afraid to be honest. He's not afraid to be direct. He can be very aloof, though, Virgo. So, if you don't want someone to perceive you as being aloof, then just make sure you're present. Make sure you reach out. Make sure you connect. Make sure you say, hey, let's go to dinner, right? But if you want that time to yourself to figure out your life, whatever, you can take it too, but just know that other people might be like, man, Virgo's being a little unavailable. They're being a little cold. I don't feel welcome, because this is a very sharp energy, which Virgo can have sometimes. It can be very crisp, the King of Swords. So, just be cognizant of the vibes, right? Be responsible for the energy. This is great, though. I mean, it's dutiful. It fulfills obligations. It's highly intelligent. There might be a quality of learning things at this time. And that's all very well and good. But it can kind of be a little bit strange in situations where you want warmth, like romantic relationships, or a creative environment at work, So let's see what the environment is. Okay, let's go ahead and pull out a major arcana card. Let's take this one, which is the World. I know that you can perceive that things are shifting. I know that you can feel the turnover happening right before your eyes. It's very palpable, this new chapter. We know we're making our way to Capricorn season when that kind of Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction with eclipses. I mean, it's like a whole thing. So we know that's happening, and we can kind of like feel that energy amping up. And we know change is coming. We know it's imminent. We know there are endings and new beginnings and all of these things. And the good thing about the King of Swords is he is very patient. And he can rest and wait and allow the world to turn over in its own time. It's not going to be advisable for Virgo to push, not to push anybody, not to push yourselves. Because if you do that, you could end up breaking. This is a very frigid kind of energy, right? This is actually a card of Aquarius, all right? And Aquarius is what? Late January and February. In the Northern Hemisphere, that's the coldest time of the year. Okay, so it's very frigid. It's cold, fixed air energy. And you have to be careful. Pay attention to the coolness versus the warmth in your life. Now, this first card came out, okay? Running toward the King of Swords. Are you dealing with a Knight of Swords? What is it about the King of Swords that is so attractive? Like, what? I don't know. It happens all the time in tarot readings. Like, the King of Swords, not even on purpose, draws people in. It's almost as though it's a game of hard to get that the King of Swords has no idea that he's even playing, right? Because the King of Swords is just doing his own thing. So there might be an energy, a person or something that seems to be chasing you, and either you're totally oblivious to it or you really just don't care. Sometimes the Knight of Swords can be desperate, and they can be just like projecting their desperation all over you. I think they really want to talk to you, and I think talking would be beneficial to both parties involved. With Black Moon Lilith and the Neptune conjunction that just happened in Pisces, which is your 7th house of relationships, it just kind of gets weird. It just gets weird, and sometimes there are kinks that need to be ironed out. I don't think this particular individual is handling the kinks very well, all right? Knight of Swords is not bad, right? He's just a little abrupt, a little bit rash. Now, this is a card of Gemini specifically. However, I usually see it as being more Aries-like, okay? I see it as being a lot more Mars than anything else. So just take that in stride. You could be dealing with an Aries, you could be dealing with a Gemini or another air sign. But someone who's not cognitively processing what's happening very well, okay? And I don't know exactly what's happening. We'll get more detail. But they want to talk to you. They want to see you. But I think the question is do you want to see them? Do you want to collaborate with them? The Knight of Swords, just intuitively, not in the cards, but intuitively, the Knight of Swords might be operating from a delusion or an ideal that was dropped, right? They may have been thinking about you in a certain way, and they may have had their illusion shattered a little bit, and they're trying to hang on to it, and they may be kind of, trying to get you to fill in that void for them, which of course you can't do. That's probably not going to speak to everybody, but it might speak to a few of you out there. Now, if you're cross-watching, this might not be you too. Roles can be reversed. Okay, so if you're dealing with a toxic Virgo, they could be acting out of desperation and maybe on some level even embarrassing themselves. There might be an expression of anger that happens as well. Wow, a lot of energies. King of Cups. Virgo, you may have multiple people in your life, or this could be the same person. This is what I'm saying. They're not a bad person, right? They're backed up by the King of Cups if it's the same person. So, sorry, I think I have like an eyelash or something in my eye. Like a little fuzzy. So they're backed by the King of Cups, so they are a pretty solid individual, but they just might be acting like this temporarily, all right? If you're dealing with two different people, honestly, a King of Swords and a King of Cups is a very interesting combination because they're kind of like one and of the same. They're just expressing the personality traits a little different, right? We have the Scorpio and the Aquarian archetypes being represented here. And I'm not saying, Virgo, that you are an Aquarius, obviously not, unless you have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, but you may be acting Aquarian-like, operating very much up here this month, okay? Whereas this person is very much operating down here. So this is the Scorpio emotion and power, and this is the high inventive creative intellect. And so you're balancing each other out, right? Let's see what comes through. What is the King of Cups looking at? If you are dealing with a Scorpio, Cancer, or a Pisces, they may be also trying to be aloof as well. If it is in fact a different person than the Knight of Swords. And I just don't know that the two of you are going to be able to come together at this time because you both seem to be quite distant from one another. King of Swords is looking at the Eight of Wands. I think this King of Cups, did I say that backwards? The King of Cups is looking at the Eight of Wands. I think he's looking at the Eight of Wands because he's anticipating a lot of movement in his life, his or her life, okay? Anticipating the change, and they too are also feeling the ramp up, if I can talk, oh my god, the ramp up of the energy of 2020. And it's almost as though it's like a year-end push, not in personal stuff, not necessarily just at the office, but in personal stuff too. Let's end this year right. Let's finish up the last few months of this year on a high note. Let's get this done. Let's get this going. Let's get this moving. There could be substantial travel for some of you or another person in your life. There could be some physical distance with you, a lot of work travel potentially as well. There could be something along the lines of a deluge of communication. It's possible that the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Wands represent the same thing, right? I say a deluge of communication. A lot of people trying to reach out, a lot of people trying to collab, a lot of people trying to get with you, okay? If you're not single, if you have like a significant other, this could very much be a high demand on Virgo's time over the next 3 to 4 weeks, and a high demand for Virgo's attention, which is why the discriminating and discerning energy of the King of Swords is going to be so beneficial, because you'll have the wherewithal to discern what is worth prioritizing and what is not. I suspect the Knight of Swords person or people is not necessarily going to make the top of the list. There could be other things that are just simply more important. The Knight of Swords is kind of, I think, I said this with another sign too, Virgo, it's not your job to make the Knight of Swords think something about you, right? It's like we're not trying to operate in I'm not what I think I am, I'm not what you think I am what I think you think I am, right? The perception within the perception. And we're not trying to do that. And the Knight of Swords, whatever they think of you, whatever they are trying to push on you, it almost kind of doesn't matter, okay? Now again, it doesn't have to be a person. So let's just kind of keep it open there. 5 of Coins coming out underneath the Knight of Swords. So there seems to be a scarcity, like I was saying. There could be a quality of desperation coming from this person too. If it's a romantic thing, maybe this person kind of broke up with someone and now they're back and you're like, oh my God, like please, really? Are we here again? Are we trying to do this again? That's a high possibility with the Mercury retrograde pending. We're getting a lot of foreshadowing for the upcoming months. If it's a career situation, and someone is desperately trying to get you on their team, look, I know how high value you are, King of Swords. Like, we know how high value you are. We know your talent, your skill. We know all that good stuff, right? So obviously people are going to want you to be on their team. They're going to want you at their company. But, you know, honestly, people that are wanting you so bad, they're just trying to get a star. right? They're trying to pull a star onto their team because they don't have any other stars. So you want to ask yourself, do you want to associate yourself with someone where you are the only star, Virgo? I think the answer is no, because Virgo wants someone who really just has a lot more going on for themselves, who's a lot more independent, and who has a lot more, self-power and self-empowerment. And I think that if you, just let some time pass, this Knight of Swords is going to lose interest really fast, and then you'll be like, okay, well, that was just, very clear in terms of their intentions. I don't know. I know that I said in the beginning that the King of Cups could also be, what's behind the Knight of Swords, and it could still be, but intuitively I'm really feeling like it's two distinct individuals, so that's probably going to speak more clearly to most of you. For some reason, though, in a way, the King of Cups is creating some unrest within you, Virgo. So someone is kind of disrupted by you, and you are disrupted by someone else. I think you know who this King of Cups is. This is probably the more prominent person in your life, or prominent option in your life. And this is the thing you ultimately want. And why? Maybe it's evasive for you, where you've been evasive for others, and now this other thing is now evasive for you, kind of maybe getting a taste of your own medicine. Some of you maybe. And it's important for you to be at peace that this King of Cups, it is what it is. There has to be a mutual choosing. You have to choose it or them, and they have to choose you. It has to be a mutual choosing. And somehow I think that this person is distracted, right? Remember, looking directly at the Eight of Wands. They're distracted and they have a lot going on. And they might not necessarily be... They may communicate with you, and they may communicate a lot with you, but it might not be the depth or deep conversation that a Virgo kind of really likes to crave. And there's probably something like, where you guys often have a dynamic of deep conversation, right? I'm getting the King of Swords. It's very open to what's the universe about, right? All these high-level things. And the King of Cups is like, what's your soul about, right? So you kind of balance each other out in that way. But for some reason, I'm seeing like small talk, which could get annoying because neither of you really like small talk. You both really like to get to the point. The Knight of Swords will do small talk all day long. Drive you crazy? Drive you crazy? Okay, the universe is carrying you somewhere, all right? It's very clear to me that you are in transport. You're transitioning from point A to point B, and it's maybe going a little bit slower than you'd like, but it is transitioning nonetheless, all right? I think 2020 is going to be a very interesting year, both, globally, and in terms of if you're in the U.S., right, the U.S. stuff is going to be really interesting. With our Pluto return as a country, it's going to be a big deal. But also on the individual scale as well, it's going to be the process of laying new foundations. We're going to have that one brick at a time, one thing at a time kind of deal. So you have to just kind of accept that this chariot, while it is moving, it is maybe a little bit heavy, okay? And you can feel the heaviness probably starting to build already. But it is there nonetheless, okay? You could definitely be dealing with a Cancer, all right? I feel like someone wants you to... It's like someone else is on their own chariot. They kind of want you on their chariot too, Virgo, but they're kind of not inviting you either, this King of Cups. So you kind of had to go and create your own chariot, But you're both moving in the same direction, I think. You're both growing at the same pace, at the same rate. It's just a highly individual process that is, can't be shared, really. You know, as you grow spiritually, as you mature emotionally, that's a journey that you're on just by yourself, right? No one can do that for you. I really think you're moving away from this Knight of Swords. I feel bad for the Knight of Swords. Poor guy. Poor guy. I think he, really hanging on to you somehow. Really hanging on, really clinging. But there is definite movement. I think this is going to be a flash in the pan kind of situation. In and out. He comes in, gets the point real quick from a King of Swords and says, okay, fine, I'll move on. And some of you, you may need to maybe be a little bit, blunt. I don't know how else to say it. I'll be blunt about being blunt. You're going to need to be blunt because, Virgo, you need to also move on. You need to also challenge yourself. I often see Virgos as being some of the biggest risk takers, myself, right? Being such a big risk taker and not afraid of the dark night at all, not afraid of the dark path, not afraid of not knowing. And, as much as we like to think that Virgo always likes to have everything planned and let's not forget that they've got Leo in the 12th house. Right, y'all got Leo in the 12th house, so there's huge fire back there. There's huge passion. There's huge desire for enjoyment and pleasure and happiness and joy and creation as well. So when a Virgo is uncomfortable, it can just move very, very quickly, and I think that's kind of what's happening here with the Eight of Cups. You're just moving on. You seem to have this urge. It's an urge, right? It's a compelling desire. It's from the soul level. It's not an ego-driven desire like, oh, I want to go buy this thing because it's going to make me look better with my circle. Like, no, this is, I want to align with my purpose, and the universe is like, okay, great, grabs you by the hand and takes you to where you need to be. You're being led, Virgo, right? You're being led. See what comes up underneath this King of Cups and the Four of Swords reversed. I think you're really wanting to try to make sense of things right now, and I just don't know. I don't know how effective that's going to be. I don't know that you're going to be able to make sense of things right now. Seven of Coins. Lot of reconsideration. Interesting how both the Knight of Swords and the King of Cups are kind of coming up a little empty. Maybe there was a desire, like maybe it really could be something with them. Really, it could be at this big company, or my company would grow to this point, and yet somehow it's just simply not quite there. And it seems to me like you haven't quite pinpointed the kind of ideal situation. That maybe you had this big idea, this big concept. Let's say, I'm going to use romance because I think a lot of people here are here for romance, but I understand that it won't speak to everyone in that way. So you have this idea of a husband or a wife and families and babies and the big house and like whatever, right? Whatever your dream is. And so you're trying to find the person to like fill it in, and it feels like you're trying to like match people. Like, here's the Knight of Swords. Nope, didn't work. Here's the King of Cups. Nope, didn't quite work. But the ideal hasn't gone anywhere. The ideal dream. So yes, maybe some disappointment with the Knight of Swords and the King of Cups. Yes, sure, some disappointment. But it doesn't mean the dream is dead. It doesn't mean you're not still moving forward towards it. Okay. And, maybe you are disappointed in other people. Maybe you are feeling a level of disappointment with yourself, but this work is not unnoticed. The universe knows how much work you've been putting into your dream. It knows how much you want what you're wanting, and it knows that it's kind of a part of your path, because if it wasn't a part of your path, you wouldn't be desiring it in the first place. Okay, so that's why patience, again, bringing that back, King of Swords, patience is the golden ticket for you. Patience, patience. I feel like Virgo is very outside of their own life right now. Like there's all this stuff going on, and yet Virgo is very removed, very aloof, very separate. Deep processing going on, deep analysis. 10 of Cups reverse. So the ideal, what did I just say? It's the ideal. And now it's not a time of projecting your ideal onto anybody else, but keeping the idea empty, keeping the idea open so that the universe can choose who gets to be involved. Kind of like keeping an empty keepsake box, right? And, you know, filling it in with the perfect, and I will use these kind of Virgo words, the perfect things. The universe is going to be filling it up. Okay, it's going to start filling it up next year. You may feel a little, you know, like anxiousness as we get near the end of the year. That's going to be perfectly normal. That's across the board. So don't stress about it. You can analyze it, you can look at it, you can think about it, but it's not really going to do you any good, okay? Let's go ahead and put the camera down for those of you who want to see the cards that are going to come out for the comprehensive reading. If not, then I will wish you absolutely nothing but the best for the rest of the month, and I will see you in a couple weeks for the Scorpio reading. Thanks. Okay, Virgo, so here's how the cards laid out, so you can see. Just so you guys know, for those of you who are interested, this center set of cards is called the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. So I had a lot of people ask about it. It's really pretty. So if you want to go buy it, go for it. Let's clarify this King of Swords a little bit. I'm going to pull out a couple of oracle cards specifically for your energy, Virgo. Okay. Specifically for your energy. Ooh, power. Almost like an Ace of Wands, yeah? Strong, and you are in your power. In a way, your autonomy and your independence here is your power. Because if you weren't in your power, if you weren't utilizing your talents, if you weren't using your skills or being valued for your skills, then I think the storyline of either this person or persons or situation would be really heartbreaking. But you seem to be healthily detached, not negatively or repressed emotion, but you're healthily detached from emotion right now, where you can feel the emotion and you can think about the emotion, but it's not going to like debilitate you or ruin your life. You know what I mean? So you are in your power, whether you feel that way or not. I think any restraint is a really good thing, because it might be easy to get angry with these people. It might be easy to be mad at life. It might be easy to get mad at the universe, right? But I don't see you doing that. I see you taking what life has kind of given you and doing something with it, or continuing to hold out, you know, the hope for, okay, well, if it's not with that person, then it's going to be with somebody else, you know? So let's see what comes through here for the Divine Animals Oracle, which is the hyena, which is the fear. Interesting. Fear of what, Virgo? What do you have to be afraid of at this time? Are you afraid that if you let something promising go, that it won't fill in later? That's not true, and I think you know it. And I don't see, because of the Power card with the King of Swords, I don't see Virgo settling. I don't see you just, you know, putting up with anything less than what you deserve. Anything less than something that's full of respect. Anything less than adoration. Okay? This person is coming after you because they really need you, and it's kind of, you know, not so great how much they need you. They need you for themselves, okay? And this person is present, but not really present. So you're kind of operating in the extremes there. Too much and not enough. Is this like Goldilocks? Goldilocks. Finding the one that's just right. All right, King of Swords, talk to me. What else do you need to know about the King of Swords? So these are the cards for the comprehensive. We'll talk for another 20 to 25 minutes approximately in that video. Link will be in the description box down below. Okay. I see you needing to be earthed. Ooh, 2 7 of coins. Interesting. That's the first theme. What else? Okay. Page of Swords. All right. Knight of Swords. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, I think the Knight of Swords is going to be going by the wayside here pretty soon. Okay, so there is a connection with the King of Cups. Well, hold on, not ready. That was too many. Man, that King of Cups really seems like that could have been it. I think it's hard to kind of leave the King of Cups behind or let them be unavailable or let that opportunity slip through your fingers. I think that's a really, really tough thing for you to do, Virgo. Wow, interesting. 8 of Wands, creating a lot of disturbance, yeah? Four of Swords. Start to dream, Virgo. Indulge in your dreams. You are very magical right now. The magical energy is, wow, was that 4 major arcana? Damn, 5 majors, holy cow. Chariot is no joke. We'll probably start with the Chariot. 8 of Cups, take a look. Chariot upright. I think what's happening is you're choosing destiny. Choosing, ooh. Don't let a Knight of Wands come in and try to trip you up, Virgo. Keep your eye on the prize, 10 of Cups. Okay? The universe implanted that desire for a reason. It's not just some flimsy, willy-nilly kind of desire that you have. It's there because it's meant to be yours. See? Oh my God. I can't even believe how scary that was. It's meant to be yours. 10 of Cups comes out upright. And it will be yours. This is your future self pulling you into position right now is what's happening. Okay? And there are going to be temptations. There are going to be temptations and distractions, and I think the King of Cups is a distraction. Wow, a lot of major. Okay, and then 6 of Wands. Let's go ahead. This is where we're going to pick up. Like I said, I'm going to start with the Chariot card, and then we'll kind of branch up into the kind of individuals here and probably down here, and then we'll get to the rest of the story. So that's where we're going to be. All right. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Have an excellent Libra season. I will see you in a few weeks for Scorpio readings. And that's it. Take care. Bye-bye.